Welcome back to the channel, friends. I'm super excited to be here today and bring you this video from one of my definite favorite stockbrokers. As you can see over here, very prominent, Lightyear. And I'm here not just with anyone, but with the very co-founder and CEO of the app, Martin. Great pleasure. Thank you very much for your time and for being here today. So I got a couple of questions from you about the platform that we can go through, and then obviously feel free to skip around in the chapters. I'll time stamp them so you can see what is relevant for you. But yeah, really, once again, thanks for your time. Starting off with the first question that I got that a lot of people obviously have on their mind is Lightyear is obviously considered a very low commission platform, which is great for us investors. But how is that sustainable long term? Like, how do you generate your revenues, and is it really a feasible business model? Because for us investors, of course, it's important to have a long-term perspective and a profitable broker, of course.
Thanks for having me. I think it's actually a really good question to start. I would ask another question to you, actually, is like, why it's so expensive? So what's kind of makes investing expensive generally? I think like generally what's broken right now in Europe is that we are using in many ways kind of legacy technology. Brokers haven't really bothered to build kind of direct connections, connections into proper investment kind of systems in the world. And like this happens everywhere. In the US, it actually changed quite a bit coming on like when technology caught up to the speed and the costs went like almost into zero. In Europe, you have so many different players, so many different connections. There's so much manual work in many ways that everything makes it more expensive. But there's also a problem where who are actually operating there. So in Europe, most of the money is in the banks. And like for banks, investing is not like main source of revenue. So banks' job is effectively give you a loan in a good rates, and they're doing it really well. But if investing is not your main source and you don't really think about it, then you don't put like a lot of effort in making sure it's really good. So that's this kind of weird situation where we are, where the money is in a place where people are not really focusing on making it better. So for us, what we're trying to do constantly is like cut out of the middleman and go directly into exchanges, directly into the custody, make sure that we have a best possible access to the foreign exchange, like various different currencies. And if you look into that, then costs start to go really small pretty quickly, because if you have it's a good example. If you have $1,000, then costs are typically quite expensive for you. But if you're putting 500 million into something, the cost disappears.
Tiny, that's true.
And now we can take this 500 million, whatever kind of benefit from you, and give that back to the customer, and that like lowers the cost significantly.
Okay. So it is sustainable, and obviously, you wouldn't be here after so many years if it wasn't a profitable business model.
So we like the way we think about it is like today we are a startup, we are a fast-growing business. We want to make sure that everything what we do as operational business is actually profitable. So we spend quite a lot of money. We are not profitable as a whole group, but mostly because we're spending money on kind of expanding the business, expanding the product. I do think that Europe needs like significant improvements in product, and there is like 30 countries around there. So like, how do we effectively expand the business? And like most of our costs goes into that.
Okay. So it's in R&D, developing, growing the business, because some users were concerned that it's not yet profitable, but as you said, it's still considered a startup in that way.
Like our idea is that like, think about it, like Europe has today about 20% of people investing only. So that shows that the current players in the market hasn't been very successful in helping people to start investing. So that has not happened. The second part is there's already 20 trillion assets on the retail side. Not considering pensions, not considering the businesses or institutional money, there's a significant amount of money already on the market, and it's like so badly treated at the moment. So to get to these kind of levels, you need to make a significant investment. And also you have like so many countries, markets, languages, cultures, taxation. Some countries have 5 different taxations. How do you get that into good shape? You need to spend quite a lot of money. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to make sure that we build sustainable business, but in the same time we advance the product significantly.
Good to hear. My local bank that charges me 10 euros per trade might be sustainable for them, but they lost me as a customer, that's for sure.
I met a lot of various different bankers and ex-bankers, and like the way they typically think about pricing is that like once in a year they come together and it's like, hey, I'll pick that price. But like they don't really think about like what's actually like a reason behind that, and like they can do that because they already have assets and they have this kind of capability and people trust them a lot. But like I don't think this time where the age, where the technology has evolved so much, like you should try to figure out like what's your actual own cost and have a cost plus, so you have a small margin on the cost, and then you scale. And now if you're scaling it, that small margin can have a significant business. You don't need to make a lot of money from one customer. You can make a little bit the money of many, many customers.
Okay. Very interesting. So next question is, of course, right now you're really focused on Europe, which is great to see, in the UK as well, and you're adding more and more countries. But would you ever see a scenario where you potentially maybe expand outside of Europe to other countries? I mean, I'm also based in the UAE, so I'd love to have Lightyear there. Is that on the roadmap eventually?
Not today. So we have actually quite simple reason for that is we want to build a product in somewhat focused. It's like a little bit weird to say like we're operating in 25 markets and we say like we focus somewhere, but like we see the problem in Europe as a huge one at the moment, and this is also where we live. So we have offices in Europe and UK, and like we understand the problem here and we understand the culture, and we are able to build a product on this kind of market. It's actually really tricky to build the products for a UAE when you don't know what's actually happening there, or in the US. Like in my previous life, I was working in Wise and we're like launching US product for many, many times. You expect that you understand what people think and need in that market, but like they're actually pretty far away. So it's I think it's much easier to build stuff that's close to you. But also it's important that I think the opportunity here is massive. So there are not many companies who are actually challenging to Europe. So I get a lot of questions like, why are you not going to US? Big market, unified and whatnot. Like if I go to the US, then I'm able to build maybe 10% better product. And it's like lots of competition, really like optimized market. But then you come to Europe and you have trillions of money, 500 million people, and you can build 10 times better product. Means that you have much bigger advantage of building a better product and grow through the product like we like to do it. And then you also solve the problem in a place where you live. So we live in Europe, we want to build the good product here, but the like end goal here is that people will have a better life. So you want to make sure that people gain wealth over their long period over their life, and then in the end maybe, or you want to buy a house or you want to retire, and then you have capabilities to do that. So our goal is make sure that these people are successful and around us, and this kind of feels massive goal already instead of even going into the US.
Makes sense. We've seen other players trying to enter the US and then they failed, they went back. So I think it makes sense to really focus and dominate your home market, and maybe one day venture also. Right, so the next question, of course, we've seen in recent times some other stockbrokers going public as well, listing in the US and other markets. Is that, obviously you mentioned Lightyear still being a startup, but one day on the roadmap to go public, be a publicly listed company? And if that was to happen, what needs to happen to get there first?
Yeah, I think like going public is like good way to kind of effectively give people a chance to kind of have a part of the story. And especially if you're thinking about what is stockbroking or like investing in general, is people come together so they're going to make smart decisions over a long period of time. And like having a stake in the company, what kind of helps you to do that, makes a lot of sense. Are we going public anytime soon? Then answer is no. Like going to the public also means that there is quite a lot of more kind of overhead, distractions around that. I think like we are just like getting started at the moment, and there's like so much stuff what we need to do beforehand. I think if you are like getting kind of the company into the good state around Europe in every single market, we have captured like significant share, then this is the good time to actually give the part of that ownership back to the Europeans as well.
Well, if you do go public, let me know. I'd love to go pre-IPO. 100%. Definitely a company I would love to invest in. Next question, of course, very important topic, security, right? So the question is, how secure is Lightyear today, and how are client assets protected in terms of technical failure and company insolvency?
So we take security extremely seriously. Like it starts from being like really well regulated. So we're regulated in Europe and in the UK. We are regulation effectively means that you need to follow some really strict rules, but also you're kind of checked and controlled that you actually follow that. There's also a significant separation between company and client assets. Means that customer assets are in a different accounts and company operates in a different. So it means that even if the company accounts are empty or whatnot, like nobody can really touch customer assets. So that's actually really good law. What we have means that the customer's assets are much more safer. But also like company will like these regulated companies are not companies who can like disappear quickly. So there is quite a lot of checks around the financial conditions, and the background means that if you are at one point you have like less than 6 months of kind of money to operate, then we actually need to announce to everybody that hey, like we are going into insolvency in half a year's time.
Okay.
You have time to kind of take your money out. You have time to kind of make your whatever decisions you want to make, and then go from there. So this is called this kind of gradual shutdown of the business, and this is totally normal thing, and it happens. It's like rather well controlled. So I think in many ways, like Lightyear is extremely secure because like we can't really touch your money in that sense. Like our job is to make sure that your money moves in the right positions.
So then those shares, sorry to jump in, those shares could be just moved to another brokerage and they would still be under your name, sort of.
Yeah. You can move to other broker, or you can just liquidate or take the cash out, like, and you have like lots of time to do that. So there is no like surprise in that sense. But also like in many ways, like it depends like who is in your team, like who are the people, and like we have been extremely kind of picky, like finding people who have done it before. So people who have built Wise or Revolut or Robinhood, and like the people who have done it quite a bit beforehand. So it means that making sure that we're doing all the right steps at the beginning to kind of protect all the customer assets.
Great to hear. Great. So next question, a lot of people have been asking me, they love Lightyear, but they're still a bit concerned why the protection limit is only 20,000 as opposed to 100,000 for maybe some German brokers or other stockbrokers. Is that something in the future you look to potentially raise to 100K as well?
Yeah. So like it's really like a little bit out of our control because it comes from effectively the regulator who is kind of regulating you and what kind of protection they have. Every country in Europe, or like a lot of countries in Europe, have different kind of limits around that. We see that hopefully in the future there will be more unified limit around Europe, so we can like all apply to that and they have like equal chances, but like it's a little bit difficult to control it. But I think the other part of it is it also kind of makes sense to keep in mind that like this is kind of the last chance or last kind of protection you have, because before that you are well regulated, you're well controlled, you're audited like significantly, constantly making sure that everything is good. And this is like if everything blows up, then like this is the last resort where it comes in. Like typically that's the kind of people don't get into this position. So it's like less of a problem usually.
Good to hear. Moving on, a feature a lot of people, it's probably the most requested feature, and also something I've been really passionate about and advocate for stockbrokers to have the ability to not only accept transfers coming in, which every stockbroker accepts, right? Everybody wants the funds, but not everyone, unfortunately, supports transfers going out. Is that something that Lightyear is supporting, will support? Because I think that's very important to be able to be flexible and give the opportunity for users to move their funds if they wanted to elsewhere.
Yeah, like we're constantly working. Effectively, we believe that like if money flows easily, then this is a good way to kind of gain the trust of the customers. There is always like complexities around various different brokers who can accept whatnot in a way that like, but like we do everything like in our power to make sure that we are able to get money in and also like help you to move the money out.
So now if somebody wanted to move their Tesla shares on NASDAQ, for example, to another broker, what would the process look like?
Yeah, I think the easiest way is just to write like you have this kind of position and you want to move it to the other broker, and like our operational people can handle it. So like it's a kind of stock transfer is this kind of weird environment. Like is it happens in the app or not? But like behind the scenes is still that two brokers need to call each other and make sure that transfers stocks are moving behind the scenes. It's really legacy system and like a little bit cumbersome, but like we are able to do that.
Very cool. Good to hear that. Right, with this, let's talk about some super apps. We see more and more the likes of Revolut, Robinhood now aggressively expanding worldwide as well. And they want to become the everything financial app, right? From banking, credit cards, and all these things. And stock trading is one of them. Now with Lightyear, really, which I like, and on the one hand side, to really focus on what your core offering is, how do you stay relevant and compete with them? Because you're really specialized on pretty much one thing of investing versus all the other things that the other apps are offering. So what makes you compete with them in the long term?
Yeah, like I think you answered their question. The answer is that we are focusing hard, making sure that you have the best investment experience. Like if you take all the super apps, or like all the banks are effectively super apps in that sense. Like you have everything in there, and then you have investing afterthought somewhere, and maybe don't get the same love as like a current account or lending or whatnot, where people make like typically super apps make more money out of it. So in that sense, like we are focusing on making sure that your investing experience is the best, but it's not only that you have like a generic investment investment experience, but like you have localized experience in Hungary and you have UK or Estonia or Sweden. So you have this kind of full stack of everything what you need for the investing and taxation and everything around that. So I think that is like massively solved problem in Europe, and it doesn't really get solved if there is just you can buy Tesla in some corner of your app. There's like much more into making sure that you have good investment journey.
Okay. The next question would be, would you ever consider launching a premium plan with, you know, added features, benefits for power users, you know, like a subscription that you pay? Revolut, they have their different plans. Is that something to potentially consider in the future?
We're definitely considering, but I think the honest answer right now is that I'm not 100% sure what it would be. Like maybe this is a shout out for you guys. Write to me and tell me what you want to be there, because if you have, so what can you put in there? So should we lower, for example, interest rates for people who are paying less to us, and then if you pay more, you get a higher interest? Like maybe we can simplify it and give everybody the same rate, and you have like a simpler solution. Or if you have, I don't know, you want to get access to the margin lending, then like why it should be behind the wall in that sense. So like I'm trying to figure out what makes sense there and what not. It's in the end, it has to kind of benefit the customer somehow. So we'll kind of guard some features behind the scenes. So I do think that there's like, I feel there's some elements of like if you're like doing like a proper analysis of like various different stocks and whatnot, and you have like effectively a lot of legwork done for you, and you have information like to make better decisions. Maybe that's something where people are subscribing, or maybe you have just like a different interfaces if you are like total novice or
a pro trader or whatever.
But like I think the answer is like a little bit tricky. But like if you guys have good ideas,
let us know.
Like what do you want to pay monthly for it?
It's a fine line, you know, because I seen also some brokers that have those pay plans, and I feel like it's so pushy. They push you to upgrade to those, and they keep things behind the paywall. As you said, then you start penalizing the ones who don't pay, and that's also not right. So yeah, it's a fine line. So yeah, maybe let us know, and then we'll happy to pass on the feedback to Lightyear. So next question is, I mean, from my own experience, and many would probably agree with me. I mean, Lightyear, really kudos to you and your UX design team. It's by far the cleanest, nicest experience of all the brokers, and I almost test them for a living. So really, it's a great app. So maybe you can tease a little bit something, upcoming features, additions to the app, to the experience for Lightyear users.
It's actually a pretty tricky topic, because like we pride ourselves on kind of the clean user experience. The user experience is, for us, goes much deeper than just a visual style of the things, because the way you enter the trade and how fast you get to confirmations and how you're going to handle it, how you onboard, there's a lot of kind of integrations needed to happen, a lot of handling happen other than just a user experience. So that's one part. So we're like putting a lot of effort making sure that everything is simple and clean, but also as like everything grows, you have more instruments and everything, like how do you make that better? So something what we have been looking quite a bit right now is that like how do you effectively benefit from the AI capabilities? So we just launched our first set of AI tooling, and we really believe that that AI has this ability to collect data really well and concentrate that into a meaningful place and give you the information when you want it. So except of giving just like in a white box where you enter the question and you get some answer, and then you have a problem, can you figure out the right question at the right time? We try to be a little bit opinionated. So for example, we have a chart, and like if you open any chart and you want to see some kind of massive movements there, you can click on a chart and it tells you like, oh, the good example is that if you look into European stocks index, then this flatlining, and then you have like massive volatility in the middle, and you click on it, and it tells that like Trump woke up and they had these tariff questions happening, and then it settled down and then went into stable situation again. And I think this is like really contextualizing what's actually happening in the app. Or if you're opening NVIDIA, you can scroll down and you have opinions, what people think why the stock is going up or why it's going down, and you can formulate your own opinion. And you have like these kind of places where it makes your user experience better because it gives you more information, it gives you information at the right time, and also like tries to answer some questions about that. So if you're looking into the future, we are putting a lot of effort trying to make sure that this is the cleanest for you, you have the right information at the right time. But I think if you're looking like a couple of years in the future, this will redefine, go the way, how do you invest? So because you invest one way, I invest.
Of course, no right or wrong, as I always say. Correct, yes.
And my mom invests third way. And like you have quite like today, most of the places you have just the same interface. So like, how do you make sure that some people have like incredibly clean, simple one? For me, I'm investing in a growth stocks. I want to have more analytical view in a way, and like whatever you do in the same way, you should have your way, your personal view. So I think that's going to be the future in many ways.
Nice. That makes sense because again, it's also, as you said, a fine line of not overwhelming. Some really value the cleanness of the app. So the more you bring all these features, it might overwhelm users also. I use other brokers that are just too overwhelming to use for people. So yeah, but I think for now, it's really, again, kudos to your design and team behind, because it really works very well. So that brings us to the last question. And that, of course, also a lot of people want to diversify the asset classes. You have stocks, ETF, growing portfolio there, which is great. But of course, you know, whether you like it or not, but crypto is not going away. It's coming more and more. So is that something you would ever consider, you know, baking into the app so we can natively trade crypto and invest in cryptocurrency on Lightyear?
There's quite many news coming up on this front pretty soon, actually, from our customers as well. So we have been looking into like what our customers are doing, and like you can actually see statistically how crypto's kind of penetration has grown quite significantly. So like over the couple of years we have been operating, you can see this as like twofold effectively. It was 3 years ago, it was like lots of people dabbled tiny amounts and just tried to understand what's happening. And today it starts to be in like one nice kind of effectively asset class in everybody's portfolio, not everybody's, but a big chunk of people's portfolio. And if you're looking into our customers' kind of behavior, it's more about, not so much about trading, it's more about like buying and investing and having a part of it in there. So even today we have crypto like ETF products or ETP products, and these are like people buy and hold. Like they don't really trade in that sense. And like I think like this kind of shows kind of the maturity what has been happening, and this like crypto has been gotten into like a significant asset class, and so it makes sense for us to add this asset class into our app.
This year, next year?
This year.
Yeah? Okay, wow, that's exciting news. Very looking forward to that. Very good. Well, Martin, that is all about it for today. Really, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. And next up, check out this video over here where I walk you through how to use the Lightyear platform. As always, thanks for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.